Colin Kaepernick and Spike Lee were doing a docuseries for ESPN, and this has been in the works for quite some time. And I can remember when I was at ESPN 2013, 14, 15, running the Undefeated, there was, Spike Lee is going to be doing films for the Undefeated. Now that it's called Landscape, I'm sure he was going to be doing films for Landscape. And this was probably one of those projects, but they've nixed it. And Spike Lee's not talking about why he signed a NDA, non-disclosure agreement. He got paid, got his money, so he's going to keep his mouth shut. But I think more than anything, there were all these people that were promising Colin Kaepernick, man, you're going to go down in history. It doesn't matter what they say now. 50 years from now, people are going to be talking about you like you were MLK. And here we are, just 9 years from 2016, and Colin Kaepernick is a laughingstock. I think he's someone that they dressed up with an afro. They run him out there as if he's Malcolm X the third or Malcolm X the second, and everybody knows that's a joke. They put him in all these different costumes, dressed him up like he was going to be in the Black Panther, and it just hasn't worked. And they pulled the plug because if they looked at it, the content just doesn't stand the test of time. And so they just scrapped the whole thing that Spike Lee was going to do. It was just going to cause a bunch of negative publicity. The Colin Kaepernick psyop is a failure. That's my takeaway. Am I right? Am I wrong?
I completely agree. And what was the name going to be? Do the half white thing. He's got to have it. It's like, shout out to Aaron Hinton. I said do the white thing. He improved it. So again, one of our great followers out there. Thank you for that.
I got another one for you.
Yeah.
I got another one for you. Let me try. Bungle fever. That's what this was. He bungled this whole deal. Bungle fever.
That's a good one. We could do a whole thing on it. I was looking up some Spike Lee movies yesterday. I'll be honest with you. Spike Lee in the last 20 years has not done a lot. He has not hit a lot. He's in a bit of a 2-decade slump. He really is. I believe that Colin Kaepernick, as a activist, just in that, he will go down about as a big a fraud as Rosie Ruiz, quote unquote, winning the Boston Marathon. Remember Rosie Ruiz? She just came out of nowhere through Heartbreak Hill, and it turned out she was waiting at the 22nd mile and just went. And it was found out, like, wait a minute, where's she been? How did she end up in front of all these Kenyans? They couldn't believe it. It turned out she's a complete fraud. He's the Rosie Ruiz of sports activists. I think some of this, Jason, to be serious, had to do with the fact that the Colin Kaepernick documentary on Netflix, which I didn't watch along with the rest of America, fell flat. It absolutely was a bust. Now, I think that was in 2022, I believe, Jason. I think the appetite for more Colin Kaepernick documentaries probably has even thinned out more.
Yeah, I did watch that documentary, and it was a joke. And he took a dump on his parents in that documentary. They were villainized. It was a bad documentary, and yeah, that probably did all the mystery and shine. This whole narrative of him trying to put together that he's some child of oppression and he's some voice for Black America. You just can't get the substance. There aren't any high school teammates that are saying, oh yeah, I remember when, Colin and I got pulled over by the police in Turlock, California, and the police looked at Colin Kaepernick and his cornrows, and they threw us to the ground. Again, they couldn't, unless they wanted to Stephen A. Smith it up and just create a false narrative and lies. I just don't think they could sell it. And so when they looked at the actual content that Spike Lee had, all they could basically argue is, hey man, these white parents bent over backwards investing in this kid who wasn't theirs, and he's basically they took a dump on them. Other than, what are they going to show? Footage of him pledging Kappa Alpha Psi in college, going through that boule ritual or whatever. They just didn't have the content to back up the narrative. he can't talk on camera. The man got away with being, mute. Muhammad Ali. That was one of my great nicknames.
That was one of yours. That was one of yours. That was a good one.
Yeah.
That was a good one.
Muhammad Ali. He can't talk. The Louisville Lip, they tried to make him into Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali could talk, and he'd spar with the people that disagreed with him. Kaepernick ran away from anybody and everybody that disagreed with him because there's no substance to Colin. What were they going to show? Him skipping out on that NFL workout that the whole league bent over and Roger Goodell arranged for him, and he skips on it and does a workout at a high school. They had nothing, and I'll give ESPN credit for acknowledging it rather than going on with the lie like they have with Stephen A. Smith and Winston-Salem State. But go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, Jason, if you want to talk about Stephen A.ing it up, I could imagine AI images of Colin Kaepernick wearing a kufi and the African medallions. Remember those things? And so, I'm going to repeat something. I believe about 3, 4, 5 years ago, especially in the summer of 2020, going into 21, there was an appetite for this type of content. If they would have done that right then and there, it would have been heavily praised. It would have been accepted. There would have been think pieces. The Jamel Hills and the Bomani Jones would have wrote 10,000 word essays on the greatness of this. All the white guilt columns would have came out en masse, and everyone would have had to pretend like this was provocative, it was incisive, insightful, we could all learn from it. Now you fast forward to the summer of 2025. You know one thing that I've really enjoyed on Netflix, and I'm right in the middle of it, on any given Saturday, it's just good old American SEC propaganda. It's an inside look at last year's SEC season. They take a look at the players. They give you back behind the scenes footage. You get to know the players. You get to know the traditions. And you're like, wow, what a great. And then yesterday, you know what I watched? I watched the documentary on the dark side of The Biggest Loser about how those people, after losing all that weight, put it back on. And I actually really got into it. So this is what people have moved on. We have stopped pretending to care about any of this stuff. Just give us entertainment at this point.
Speaking of rewatching things in Netflix, somehow I decided, I'd only watched Breaking Bad. This is one of the great shows. I'd only watched it one time. And generally speaking, on all these great shows, I rewatch it 2 or 3 times. And even when they're out, it's like when Game of Thrones was good, I'd watch the same episode twice in the same night or twice in the same week. Anyway, I decided to rewatch Breaking Bad. Probably starting 2 weeks ago. And I gotta say, man, the first 3 seasons are amazing. Like what you saw? Hit that like button, subscribe, and check out the full episode by clicking the link below.